You are not alone, not on this road. The headlights you think are empty, the shadows you believe are only mist, they are not yours to ignore. A shape moves where it should not, just at the edge of your vision. It waits, silent, patient. And when you stop, when you think you've escaped, it is already there, folding itself into your thoughts, brushing against the corners of your mind that you have tried so hard to keep safe. You feel it in your chest before your eyes see it. A pressure, a pulse, a knowing. You are being watched, and you have already been found. Hello everyone, welcome to Whispers of Shadows. Tonight, we travel the Appalachia-hunted highway. A stretch of asphalt that isn't just a road, but a threshold. Here, in the mountains, travelers vanish, stories dissolve into fog, and the woods themselves seem to breathe with a mind older than the towns that cling to the hills. If you're listening in your room, your car, or somewhere darker, leave a comment with where this reaches you. Make sure you subscribe. This story is not one you can walk away from, not easily. The highway begins innocuously enough. A thin black line cutting through the Appalachians, flanked by ragged pines and rusted signs. During the day, it is merely a scenic route, winding around the curves of the mountains, dotted with cabins that have long been abandoned. But at night, the ordinary peels away. The mist rolls in heavy and slow, masking shapes in its folds. Tires seem to crunch gravel that isn't there, and sometimes, if you are alone, you will hear your name whispered on the wind. Henry was a trucker, familiar with mountain roads and bad weather. One stormy night, he took this highway to avoid a snow-laden detour. The sky was calm, but as darkness fell, the temperature plummeted. Static filled his radio. A voice, soft and coaxing, spoke from nowhere, calling him by name. He stopped. That's when he saw her. A woman standing at the roadside, soaked to the bone, eyes black and endless. He braked, heart hammering. She vanished, leaving only the impression of something wrong on the asphalt. At home later, Henry could still hear her breathing, echoing inside his skull, reminding him that some roads do not release those who pause. Travelers tell of headlights in the distance that never arrive, of shapes flitting through trees that seem too thin to hold a human form. One driver, following a shadowy figure at the side of the road, was compelled to follow deep into the forest. She emerged hours later, alone, with the road she had been on vanished from any map. GPS could not reconcile what she had seen. Others vanish entirely, leaving only cars idling, keys in the ignition, wallets on the seat. The highway does not need to kill immediately. It cultivates fear first, understanding that the mind unmoored is easier prey. The Cedar Pines Inn sits abandoned, its neon flickering weakly. A man named Mark stopped there once. He paid for a room and went inside. Hours later, the clerk told police he had never checked in. His belongings remained in the room, folded neatly, but Mark himself had disappeared. The bed had not been slept in, yet it was cold. The air smelled faintly of wet leaves and something else. Something metallic, sharp, almost like fear. Some stretches are worse than others. The whispering curve, a bend in the road where no GPS will mark a safe path, carries voices that are not yours. Confessions you have never made echo there, secrets you never intended to speak, whispered aloud by no one. Tires screech for no reason. Shadows bend unnaturally. Trees lean toward the road as though listening, or perhaps warning. Some drivers have slammed brakes only to see the road empty, yet feel themselves being followed. Lucy, a teenager with a dash cam, recorded the highway one night. Shadows appeared in trees, lanky figures, limbs moving too fast, too wrong. In the rearview mirror, a face not hers stared back. Pale, lipless, grinning, without warmth. She tried to accelerate. Her car resisted. When she reviewed the footage later, she saw the figures turning toward her, smiling, while she had never seen them move in real life. The highway does not just exist in reality. It exists in memory, in reflection, in fear. The Appalachia Haunted Highway feeds on attention. Laugh, scoff, doubt it, and it notices. Phones ring with numbers that do not exist. Texts arrive with pictures of you sleeping. Mirrors twitch. Shadows stretch impossibly long. Cars loop in ways that defy logic. Signs change their numbers. Mile markers count down rather than up. The road knows where you've been, and sometimes it remembers where you will go. One family returning from a funeral experienced this firsthand. Their car stalled near mile marker 47. The father went to check the engine. When he returned, the rest of the family was gone. Hours of searching yielded nothing. Later, he found his car intact, the windows fogged from inside. Fingerprints appeared on the glass, but not his. Letters scrawled in condensation spelled, "You were almost ours, too." The highway doesn't discriminate. Young or old, cautious or reckless, it watches and waits. Time behaves strangely here. Minutes stretch like hours. Shadows shift against the light. Reflection betrays reality. Even police officers avoid the route at night, citing sudden exhaustion, hallucinations, and compulsion to stop at empty scenes. Locals whisper that if you drive too fast, the road can claim you, but if you hesitate, it will haunt you forever. Even survivors report dreams where the highway extends impossibly. Figures calling them back, fog rolling in waves, promises whispered in voices not human. Cameras fail, GPS lies, maps omit the road entirely, as if the terrain itself conspires. A bridge appears one night, gone the next. Trees bend over asphalt as though alive, fog twisting unnaturally. Somewhere within that living night, the watcher waits. Patient, observant. It knows your fear before you have felt it, shaping the night around you. The highway may keep a tally, some locals say, a ledger of those who linger, who laugh, who doubt. Every story, every video, every whispered retelling nourishes it. The more it is shared, the closer it comes. And now, as you hear this, as your skin pricks, as your pulse hammers, the road is already imagining you. Watching, waiting. There is no solace here. Questions remain unanswered. How many are lost? How many glance back, seeing nothing, yet feeling eyes on them? Does the watcher move, or is it the road itself? Some survive, others are never seen again, and even as you listen, you feel it. A presence just behind your mind, brushing the edges of perception. If you are still here hearing this, subscribe. Comment below with where you are listening from. Share the fear. The highway remembers, and now it remembers you. Look around. Keep your headlights on. You may need them sooner than you think. Next story. You are not alone, not on this road. Something is there, just beyond the trees, just behind the mist, just on the edge of your vision. You feel it before you see it. Pressure on your chest. A whisper curling around your thoughts. A heartbeat in the air that isn't yours. You slow down thinking it's fatigue. Blink and it moves closer. Faster than the eye should allow. Waiting, watching, and it knows that you've noticed. That alone is enough. Hello everyone, welcome to Whispers of Shadows. Tonight we journey along the Appalachia Haunted Highway, a stretch of asphalt that stretches across mountain ridges, where travelers vanish without trace, where shadows hold secrets, and where the night itself seems alive. If you're listening from your room, your car, or somewhere darker, leave a comment with your location. Subscribe if you dare. What you're about to hear is not merely a story, it is a warning, and perhaps a memory of something already watching you. The highway seems ordinary at first. By day, it winds through pine-clad mountains, dotted with abandoned cabins and rusted-out vehicles long forgotten. But night changes everything. The mist rises thickly from the valleys, curling along the asphalt. Tires crunch gravel that isn't there. Headlights appear in the distance, vanishing before arrival. Travelers report hearing their own names whispered by the wind, soft, coaxing, insistent. Some stop, thinking fatigue. Others, paralyzed, continue. None are certain they are alone. Henry, a trucker familiar with mountain roads, once took the highway to avoid a snowstorm. Calm skies turned bitterly cold as darkness fell. His radio erupted in static, then a voice, low and intimate, whispered his name, not over the speakers but in his mind. He stopped. A woman appeared, drenched, staring with eyes too black, too endless. He braked. She vanished. Only the air remained, thick, wet, and pressing against his chest. Later, he swore he could hear her breathing, even at home, a reminder that some roads never release those who linger. Stories like Henry's are not anomalies. Travelers report headlights that never arrive, shapes flitting between trees, reflections in mirrors that betray reality. One woman followed a shadow into the forest and emerged hours later. The road she had been on erased from any map, her GPS unable to reconcile what had happened. Others vanish entirely, leaving only their cars running, keys on the seats, wallets neatly placed. The highway does not kill immediately. It studies, it toys, it cultivates fear, bending minds until the travelers themselves are prey. The Cedar Pines Inn, a flickering neon relic, is another tale. A man named Mark stopped there once, paid for a room, and went inside. Hours later, the clerk told police he had never checked in. Inside, his clothes remained folded, untouched, the bed cold, yet no sign he had slept. The air carried the faint smell of wet leaves. And something else, metallic, sharp, as if fear itself had soaked the walls. The highway has the worst stretches. The whispering curve carries voices that are not yours. Secrets never spoken echo along the asphalt. Tires skid over gravel that shouldn't be there. Shadows bend unnaturally. Trees lean in as if listening. Some drivers have slammed brakes at approaching headlights only to see nothing, yet still feel themselves followed. Lucy, a teenager, recorded the highway on a dash cam. Shadows appeared in trees, lanky and jerky. A face not hers stared through the rearview mirror, pale and lipless, grinning. She accelerated. Her car resisted. On reviewing the footage, she saw the figures turning to face her, smiling, though she had never noticed them in real life. The highway exists in memory, reflection, fear itself. The road feeds on attention. Doubt it, laugh at it, ignore it, and it notices. Phones ring from numbers that do not exist. Texts arrive with images of you sleeping. Mirrors twitch independently. Shadows lengthen impossibly. Signs change numbers. Mile markers count down. The highway knows where you've been, and sometimes where you will go. A family returning from a funeral experienced this directly. Their car stalled near mile marker 47. The father went to inspect. When he returned, the rest of the family was gone. Hours of searching yielded nothing. Later, he found his car intact, fogged from inside. Fingerprints appeared on the glass that were not his. Letters scrawled in condensation spelled, "You were almost ours too." The highway does not discriminate. Young or old, cautious or reckless, it observes all. Time behaves differently here. Minutes stretch like hours. Shadows twist and shift. Reflections betray reality. Even law enforcement avoids the route at night, citing sudden exhaustion, hallucinations, and the compulsion to stop at empty scenes. Locals whisper, "Drive too fast, and the road claims you." Hesitate, and it haunts you forever. Survivors report dreams mirroring bends, fog, and whispers calling them back, urging one more drive. Some do not wake. Maps do not capture it. GPS lies. Bridges appear and vanish. Trees bend over asphalt as though alive. Fog twists against logic. Somewhere within that living night, the watcher waits. Patient. Observant. It knows fear before it forms, shaping the road to trap the mind. The highway may keep a ledger, some claim. Those who linger, who doubt, who laugh, they are recorded. Every story, video, retelling nourishes it. And now, as you hear this, your skin prickling, your pulse hammering, the road is already imagining you. Watching, waiting. No solace exists. Questions remain. How many vanish each year? How many glance back, seeing nothing, yet feeling eyes on them? Does the watcher move, or is it the road itself? Some survive, others do not. And even as you listen, you feel it, a presence just beyond perception, brushing the edges of your mind. If you are still here, listening, subscribe. Comment below with where you hear this. Share your fear. The highway remembers, and now it remembers you. Look behind you. Keep your headlights on. You may need them sooner than you think. You can almost feel the highway before you see it. It waits in the mist, a stretch of asphalt that should be empty, yet somehow never is. Headlights flicker where none should exist. Tires scrape gravel in the distance, though no car ever approaches. And when you stop, the air thickens. Something has been watching. Always watching. You don't hear it, you feel it. Like a pulse beneath your skin, echoing in your chest. It's there, right behind you, in the corner of your mind. Turn around, nothing, blink. And then, just at the edge of the fog, you see a shape. A shadow, too long, too still, moving against the wind. The Appalachia-hunted highway doesn't forgive those who linger, and tonight it wants you. Hello everyone, welcome to Whispers of Shadows. Tonight, we venture along the Appalachia-hunted highway, a road whispered about in trembling voices from Kentucky to Tennessee, a place where travelers vanish, cars stall without explanation, and the woods seem to breathe. If you're listening from home, or maybe from the dark back roads yourself, let me know in the comments where this reaches you, and make sure to subscribe. What you're about to hear might make you wish you'd taken another route home. The highway is deceptively ordinary. During the day, it stretches like any other mountain road, lined with ragged pines and occasional forgotten cabins. But as night falls, the ordinary peels away, revealing something unnatural beneath. Locals speak of sudden cold spots, mist rising without wind, and headlights appearing in the distance that vanish before they arrive. Some say the road remembers the fear of those who travel it. Others whisper that it hungers for more than memories. One night, a trucker named Henry took the route to avoid a snowstorm. He reported calm skies, yet as he drove, the air thickened like syrup. His radio crackled with static, and a faint voice whispered his name, not through the speakers but in his head. He stopped, thinking it a trick of fatigue, and then saw the figure. A woman standing on the roadside, soaked, staring straight at him with eyes too wide, too black. He braked hard. She vanished. The tires skidded over gravel that had never been there. Later, Henry would tell police he could still hear her breathing, even at home. Stories like Henry's aren't anomalies. People report seeing shapes on the shoulder, reflections in the rearview mirror that shouldn't exist. One driver swore she saw a man in a tattered coat waving her forward. She obeyed without thinking. feeling compelled to follow him deep into the forest. When the sun rose, she found herself alone, her car surrounded by twisted trees and the road back gone. GPS showed the highway had never existed where she was stranded. The highway is lined with abandoned motels, their neon signs flickering weakly, promising warmth and shelter. Yet, those who stop often don't leave. One traveler, Mark, stopped at the Cedar Pines Inn after a long drive. He paid for the night and went to his room. Hours later, the desk clerk told police he had never checked in. His car remained in the parking lot, engine running. Inside the room, they found his wallet, keys, and clothes neatly folded, but no Mark. The bed was cold, as though he had never slept. The walls smelled faintly of wet leaves and something else, something like fear. The deeper you go, the worse it becomes. A small stretch of the highway is known as the Whispering Curve. Travelers report hearing conversations that aren't theirs, voices reciting secrets they never shared, confessions of shame and regret spoken aloud, though no one is near. Some drivers have slammed their brakes, seeing headlights approaching too fast, only to find the road empty. The shadows along the curve stretch impossibly long, bending in ways that should defy physics. A teenager named Lucy dared to record the highway on her dash cam. At first, the footage was normal, but as night fell, the camera captured glimpses of figures perched in trees. Thin, elongated silhouettes whose limbs moved jerkily, almost like puppets. In the rearview mirror, a face appeared that wasn't hers. Pale, lipless, staring through the glass. She tried to accelerate, but the car seemed to resist, almost as if the asphalt itself had wrapped around the tires. She escaped, but when reviewing the video later, she saw the figures turn and smile at her through the screen, even though she had never noticed them in real life. Some believe the highway is cursed, the result of old Appalachia legends fused with something older, something pre-human. Locals tell of a watcher, a presence that stalks the road, marking travelers who linger too long. It doesn't act quickly. First, it observes, then it toys. Then, for some, it removes them entirely, leaving only their car, their possessions, and an echo of their existence. One night, a pair of friends drove the route to test the legends. Their GPS malfunctioned, bouncing between coordinates in impossible ways. Radio signals merged, combining news, weather, and personal conversations in a dissonant, screaming static. Trees leaned in, as if pressing against the windows. A fog crept along the pavement, thick and moving against the wind. One friend glimpsed a man in the fog, standing perfectly still, smiling inhumanly. The friend blinked, and he was gone. The other friend swore later that the highway itself had swallowed him for a heartbeat before releasing him back onto the road. The highway feeds on attention. Those who laugh at the stories often find themselves first unnerved, then haunted. Phone calls from numbers that don't exist. Texts with images of themselves sleeping. Reflections in mirrors that twitch independently. Travelers report hearing tires crunching behind them when the road is empty. Seeing headlights approach from nowhere, always vanishing just before collision. They speak of roads that loop impossibly, of signs that change, of mile markers that count down, not up. Even law enforcement avoids the area at night. Patrol logs show officers reporting sudden mental fatigue, hallucinations, and compulsion to pull over where no vehicles exist. Witnesses describe officers who arrive to an empty scene, never remembering how they got there, only knowing they shouldn't have stopped. Some locals swear that in the quiet hours, you can hear the whispers of lost travelers carried by the wind, muttering to the fog, warning those who drive too fast, too carelessly, too curious. One particularly harrowing case involved a family traveling home from a funeral. Their car broke down near mile marker 47. The father went to check the engine. When he returned, the rest of the family was gone. He searched the woods, shouting, finding nothing. Hours later, he stumbled back to the highway where his car sat abandoned. But inside, he found the dashboard covered in fingerprints that weren't his. Each window fogged from the inside, and in the condensation, letters appeared. You were almost ours, too. The road doesn't discriminate. Young, old, experienced drivers, or reckless tourists, they all feel its weight. And once it chooses you, reality becomes pliable. Time stretches, shadows lengthen, reflections lie, and you can no longer trust your own senses. The highway doesn't need to kill immediately. It cultivates fear. It ensures that by the time it acts, its prey is fully unmoored, vulnerable, aware that something impossible is watching, right now. Sometimes the highway even reaches into dreams. Those who survive recount vivid nightmares, mirroring the bends and mist of the road. They hear whispered confessions, voices and accents they cannot place, promises of relief if they return, just one more drive. But they never go back. Or perhaps, if they do, they simply don't remember leaving the road the last time. No camera can capture it properly, no GPS can map it. Maps themselves bend, omit the highway entirely, as if complicit. Signs point the wrong way, mile markers vanish, and landmarks shift. A bridge may appear one night, and the next, a chasm where the same travelers once drove. The forest is alive, bending asphalt and fog to its will. And in that living night, the watcher waits. Some suggest that the highway keeps a ledger, a tally of those who have gazed too long into the fog, who have noticed too much, who have laughed or doubted. Others whisper it is patient, feeding on stories, using fear as sustenance, growing stronger with each retelling. Every video uploaded, every conversation, every shared story, just another breadcrumb leading it closer to the next traveler. There is no comfort here. Even as you hear this, the highway exists outside your awareness, stretching endlessly across mountains, valleys, and ridges. Somewhere, the fog thickens. Headlights blink in the distance. Tires crunch gravel against the wind. And if you were to drive it, right now, the whispers would find you. A shape would appear where none should be. A coldness pressing in, an urge to look back that you would not resist. The road will not release you easily. And when you blink, you may realize it has been observing you long before you knew it existed. The Appalachia-hunted highway leaves questions. How many vanish each year? How many look back and see nothing, only to find the memory of eyes on their shoulders? Does it move, or does the watcher move within it? Why do some survive while others are never seen again? No one knows. Perhaps no one ever will. What is certain, once you imagine the road, it is already imagining you. If you've listened this far and you've felt the prickling on your skin, the sense of being watched, know this. Subscribing, commenting, sharing your location, these are not interruptions. They are offerings. The highway remembers, and so do we, here at Whispers of Shadows. If you're hearing this in the quiet of your room, glance behind you. Step lightly. The road is never as far away as you think. Don't forget to subscribe, leave a comment with where you're listening from, and maybe, just maybe, keep your headlights on. You may need them.